good morning. Good Monday morning. It's March 21st, 2022. It really is Monday morning, unlike the video I released on Saturday that said it was Monday. This is going to be speed round. I'm going to present a lot of information as quickly as possible. First of all, Puerto Rico is a U.S. territory and Puerto Ricans are U.S. citizens. However, they can't vote in presidential elections. They do have a non-voting representative in Congress. If you're a United States citizen, you do not need a passport to go to Puerto Rico. Jose is by nationality Puerto Rican, but he is also a U.S. citizen. According to him, his family is from Puerto Rico, but he was born in the United States, making him a full citizen. Next, the house. The registered owner is Donald Wesley Wells Jr. of 110 Ben Hill Road. The market value is $27,800, improvement value is $10,000, and the total market value for appraisal is $38,000. It is listed as having one mobile home and additional outbuildings. The extra features are one utility building, one basement house, and it was last evaluated in 2015. So from 2015 to 2019, this is what the house looked like and before 2015. And in 2019, the mobile home portion was torn down, and this is what it looks like today, including Grandma's camper, right where everybody thinks it should be. I did an episode on November 27th called Where Did It Go? Because I had noticed in studying the terrain of Beach Creek that the house looked different. And then on January 4th, spontaneously, Don Wells answered the question, probably never saw my video, the mystery was solved. Candace Bly put the house up for sale in August for $70,000. 3 days later, Allie, Candace, Grandma, and all the kids went to Laurel Park, and we saw the now famous video of a fearless summer climbing up the waterfall. This is all information that I have presented before, so now we're going to slow down a little bit and deal with, first, the receipt that Jeffy paid for a minivan from September 16th to September 17th, 2020. Jeffy is the friend, also referred to as Andrew Hilt's brother, but he is not his biological brother, and he's also the friend that Jose lived with for 2 years. I apologize for the poor quality. Andrew Hiltz was holding the phone up to his web camera and it was backwards. I had to correct it for readability, and keep in mind, every time I messed with that image, it degraded the quality, even trying to sharpen it. Let's move on. A U-Haul 9-foot cargo van, which is the only thing they have, seats 2 adults. It has air conditioning and so on and so forth. Let's compare that to a Penske 12-foot cargo van, the only van they have. A Penske cargo van comes in a 12-foot model and specifies that it only seats 2 adults with bucket seats and is not available for one-way trips. So what that means is in your contract, you must return it to the place from where you rented it. Neither of these vans comes with additional seating. They are cargo vans. Don was home by the 6th of October, 2020. There's a screenshot of him, Candace, and Summer that shows he was either buying the white truck or filling out paperwork to register it in the state of Tennessee. And Candace comments, "Pretty little truck, love driving it." Hawkins County School District had fall break between October 12th and October 16th, 2020. Back to Jose's recollection of the events. On Saturday, March 18th, 2020, Justice for All and ICU hosted Jose again to answer questions. And this was supposed to be a live stream, and it ended up being them discussing things with Jose over the phone because live streaming just was not working. I have to say, the beginning of this discussion between the three of them, Jose was very defensive and very upset over the way some other live streamers have portrayed him according to what he said. And I would suggest to Jose that if you're going to spend a week getting caught up with everything that has happened in 9 months, or for you, over a year, watching 3, 4, 5, 6 hour live streams is not the way to do it. You really need to look for people who are giving concise information in the form of produced or shorter videos, half hour, 45 minutes at the most, like Michelle After Dark, who you have said that you've already listened to her. That's just my opinion. So to the content of what they discussed. They questioned him again about when he arrived in Tennessee, under what circumstances, and I've already gone over that with a broad timeline, a corrected timeline, and a pinpointed timeline in my previous video, Dude, You Have to Know We Would Chop It Up, which was released on Saturday. Jose insists that he was there for more than a month, and he seems to think that it was closer to 2 months. If that's the case, then he would have been there for half of October, roughly, all of September, and part of August. And that brings up another question brought up by Mountain Girl and also Chasing on this same night. If 13 people are traveling to Tennessee to rent a house or buy a house, and there are 4 or 5 adults and a bunch of kids, 6 kids, 5 kids, whatever. Where is the house? Where is the paperwork that proves that they were either renting or buying? We've not seen that, nor have we seen a truck rental, to be honest. We've seen a minivan rental for September, but not a truck rental. In light of the fact that Jose seems to think that he was there for closer to 2 months, is it possible that Andrew and Jeffy drove a moving van down to Tennessee in August with all the possessions of both 2 households plus Jose if he moved anything other than clothing? That would explain why there was a storage unit mentioned when they were talking about the house not being ready in September and having to go to a storage unit to make an exchange between the people who are leaving and going straight back to New York and getting Jose to Candace's house. If that's the case, why not just say that, Andrew Hiltz or Jeffy, or both of you, and Allie? If they were down to pre-place all the possessions in August, just say so. Keeping in mind that Candace is not on the deed to the property, she has no authority to sign contracts or bills of sale or any of that stuff. If it's the case that everybody was going to move to Candace's and they were going to buy it or rent it, Candace didn't have the authority to do that. Only Don does, because the property is in Don's name. This question was in my mind when I looked at the transcript of his testimony when I was tightening down the timeline, and now it's being asked by Justice Farrell and a few others. Jose said that he threw his phone away 3,000 miles away in the ocean. Where might that be? It's 2,915 miles from Rock Hill, South Carolina, to Sitka, Alaska, which is on the Pacific Ocean. It is almost 9,000 miles to Manila, Philippines. So that crosses out the Philippines. Jeffy insists, and so does Andrew Hiltz, that the phone that Jose had while he was in Tennessee was mailed from Alaska back to Jeffy along with $600. But you can't be in the Philippines and Alaska and have those details fit. Let's look at the flight information for a flight from South Carolina to Sitka, Alaska. I had to use today's date to get a flight. I wasn't going to go through the headache of trying to figure out what it was in 2020. So the price might be a little higher and so forth. 10:30 p.m. flight on Monday, March 21st, 2022 is about $1,500 in economy, and you can only carry on one bag. It's non-refundable. The description of that price point is more what I was going for. If you're going on a trip, 3,000 miles away and you intend on being employed there, then it doesn't make sense that you would buy an open-ended round-trip ticket. It would just be very expensive. And even this is pretty pricey. The reason why I chose this flight as well is because I heard Texas being mentioned in the conversation of when the last time Jeffy heard from Jose was. There is a layover in Dallas, Texas on this flight. So what have Allie and Andrew said about the time that they actually arrived and the circumstances around that? I'm going to play a 1-minute audio with some screen stills from Justice for All, Justin, and ICU.
So, in different interviews, Allie and Andrew and everything has said the following things. Allie has said last of September to 1st of October. She has also stated they were supposed to move down in August but didn't until September, race weekend. Allie has also said Andrew was there in late August because her and Candace stopped talking. When her and Candace stopped talking, the race didn't happen when it was supposed to. It was postponed. Allie also said usually the big race is in early August after the kids go back to school. Bristol City does not have school because of the race. And Andrew says, I can't remember when we went down there. So those are just different.
We tried to bring the facts. And, we're just left with, you can't make it make sense. So just tell what each person said. That's the only thing I know to do.
Well, that muddied it right up. We have inconsistencies and discrepancies yet again. At this point, I have to ask myself, and others are asking the same question, why is everybody flipped out over Jose reappearing after 18 months? Andrew, Allie, and Jeffy are tripping over each other, trying to get a story straight that just keeps unwinding. Jose's story, while having some inconsistencies and some problematic time frames, has been pretty much the same. There have been some salacious accusations against Jose, levied primarily from Andrew, Jeffy, and Allie, and Candace seems to be sticking to the he was there about a month storyline, as well as both Jose and Candace saying nothing happened between us physically. Was there a little bit of an emotional simpatico between the two of them? I don't doubt that for a second, considering they both experienced some serious difficulties in life and they were both drinking. So on the Allie, Andrew, Jeffy side, we have salacious accusations against both Candace and Jose for separate incidents that make all of us really angry. I gotta be careful about my words here. On Jose's side, his biggest beef is that Don is violent and abusive and controlling, and Candace was a fool for going back to him. He did, having said several times now that he went off grid as soon as he left Tennessee. He did get a hold of Candace in December when he noticed that she had a shiny new red Subaru, and he asked her about it, and she said, that, John had bought it for her on December 29th, or at least that's when the picture was posted, 2020. Jose says that's when he was disgusted and decided he was going to cut off ties with everybody else and threw that same phone in the ocean. The phone that allegedly, from the Allie, Andrew, Jeffy side, was mailed back to Jeffy with $600. So, this is starting to sound like he said, she said to me. I would love to believe that Jose is sincere and that, what he's saying is what he experienced. But with so many discrepancies and everybody trying to make a story work that's just not working, the best I could give Jose is, on the subject of Summer, for the time that he knew her, he's earnest about what he says. Question then becomes, is earnesty enough in this case? And when it comes to credibility, I think not. Because he told us he knew nothing about Summer's disappearance, and yet he got back in contact with his family just a few days before or after Summer disappeared. And then told us in the first interview that he knew nothing about what happened to her. So why is it relevant? Well, everything that has happened around this little girl's life is relevant because so many people are lying and can't tell the truth to save their lives. Thanks for joining me. God bless you. I'll see you real soon.